And I see a couple of people look like they're done, but if you are done, you can do the little thumbs up button on your Zoom screen so that I can see. And if you're not sure where to find that, some computers are different, but you should see it on the bottom. Okay, I see a few thumbs up. Cool. Awesome. All right. So as you guys finish writing, the next part is these properties of equality. So you do not need to write these down. Okay, that's a lot of words. We do not need to write them down. Oh, I just saw a question in the chat about what is the topic. I'll write the topic down right now. Just give me 1 second. Move this over. Oh, my screen just froze for some reason. So I'm just gonna stop sharing and then share again because for some reason it stopped sharing. I was writing stuff down and you can't even see it. Try that again. There we go. Okay. So the topic of the day was solving multi-step equations. Okay. And so like I was saying, all of these properties of equality, you don't need to write them down, but they all kind of say the same thing. So can I have 4 volunteers read each of the 4 properties of equality?
Addition property of equality. You can add the same number to, hold on, I can't really see it. Both sides of an equation and the statement will still be true.
Awesome. Subtraction property of equality.
Subtraction property of equality. You can subtract the same numbers from both sides of an equation and the statement will still be true.
Awesome. Multiplication property of equality.
You can multiply both sides of the equation by the same number and the statement will still be true.
Awesome. And then finally, division property of equality.
You can divide both sides of an equation by the same non-zero number and the statement will still be true.
Cool. Awesome. So they're all saying the same thing. Basically, they're just saying if you add one thing to the left side, you have to add the same thing to the right side. If you subtract one thing from the left side, you got to subtract the same thing from the right side. So all of these are basically just telling me to do the same thing to both sides, and then you don't have any problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few problems that are going to be 2-step equations, and we're going to use these properties in order to solve for our variables. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to this next slide. By the way, I'm recording this so that if you miss something, if you're not sure, if you want to review it at any time, I will be posting this on, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, I'm going to share it with everybody, and that's where everything will be posted. Okay, so I have this problem, oh, and it's not loading. My screen keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on. 1 second. Okay, you can see it now? Cool, all right. So I have this problem here. Let's see what's going on. On the left side, and I'm gonna draw this line straight down right from the equal sign because that's gonna help me differentiate the left side and the right side and keep them nice and neat. On the left side, I have 3x minus 2. So how many different operations do you see?
Multiplication and subtraction.
Good. We have multiplication, the 3 and the x, that's multiplying. And then we have subtraction because we're subtracting 2. So we're going to need to use 2 different operations in order to solve for x. Now remember, you're always going to do the opposite. So what operation will I need to do in order to get rid of my 3?
Division.
That's going to be division. And then in order to get rid of my 2, I'm going to need to add. And the order that you do this in is very, very important. So I'm going to write this down over here. You're always going to add or subtract first, And after you add or subtract, that's when you can divide or multiply. So when you see a problem like this one in your head, you should always think, okay, what can I add? What can I subtract first? And then after that, you can do your division and your multiplication. So since in this case, I have 3x minus 2, I know that I'm going to have to add 2, just like we said. So that's going to be my first step. I'm going to add 2. And since I'm doing that on the left side, I also have to do that on the right side. This is going to get rid of just my 2. And I'm going to be left with 3x. But then on the right side, I have to add. So I have to do 6 plus 2, and 6 plus 2, that's going to give me 8. So far, I've only done one step. But this is going to be a 2-step equation. So what's my second step going to be?
Divide by 3.
Exactly. Now I can divide by 3. And that's going to help me finish. And 8 divided by 3, well, that's not going to be a whole number. That's going to be a decimal. In previous classes, so with Miss Sneed, she probably told you to make it a mixed fraction. In this class, in algebra, we're always going to leave it as an improper fraction. So you're actually just going to leave it exactly like that, 8/3. And that's my final answer. So I took 2 steps. That's why they call it a 2-step equation. Step number 1 was to add. Step number 2 was to divide.
So anytime we do this, it's just going to be a decimal, a fraction, not a decimal.
So anytime, good question. So if your final answer is something like this, 8/3, technically 8/3, if you actually use the calculator, you do 8 divided by 3, which is
2.67.
2.67, right? We're just going to leave it as an improper fraction. Anytime this happens, you will always leave it as an improper fraction. Right, and Guillermo said 2 2/3. That's another, you might see it like that as well, but for algebra, keep it as an improper fraction. Good questions. All right, let's go to the next example. It's going to look very similar. Now, I have a different variable. I'm using the letter z. That's fine. And I'm going to start taking a look at what operations I'm going to need to do. So I see that I have 1/2 z plus 4. So if you want to do it in the chat or say it out loud, what are my 2 operations that I see in front of me right now?
Addition and multiplication.
Okay, so we see addition plus 4, and then we also see multiplication right here. However, fractions are a little bit special. So fractions are technically dividing. And let me show you why. So I'm going to do a little bit of I'm just going to do this on the side. You don't have to write this down, but you can if you want to. So why is this technically dividing? Let's just look at an example. Let's say I said, what is 1/2 times 8?
4.
4. Exactly. Well, if you think about it, that's kind of the same as 8 divided by 2. Because 8 divided by 2, that's also 4. Another way that you can write the same exact thing is like this. 8/2, that's also 4. So these are just 3 ways to write the same exact thing. And in this example, it looks like they're doing 1/2 z. That's actually using division. So this is kind of like when you see a fraction in your head, you should always think, oh, I'm dividing. Okay, this is division. So now let's go ahead and solve it. I know I'm going to take 2 steps. Which step should I do first?
Take away the
Add.
4.
Take away the 4. Good. Remember, we're going to use the opposite of what you see. I see plus, I'm going to write minus. That's going to cancel out my 4. And I'm left with 1/2 z equals 10 minus 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. Exactly. And for the sake of remembering all of our properties, I'm going to write this down. Step number 1 was the subtraction property of equality. And now, step 2, remember what I said, fractions are really dividing, and the opposite of division
Multiplication.
is multiplication. So what I'm going to do to get rid of 1/2 is I'm going to multiply by 2. Because when you do 2 times 1/2, that's just 1. So I'm left with just z. That cancels out my fraction. And then on the right side, 6 times 2 is 12. Z equals 12. So step 1 was subtraction property. Step 2 was multiplication property. So the most important thing, and I know a lot of you guys have done this with Miss Sneed or with other teachers in the past, so most of this is a review, but moving on from here, we are going to start adding more and more steps, and it's going to get more and more complicated. So it's super important that this example and the one before it, that you guys feel good about these two examples right here. So do I have any questions about example A or example B?
No.
Nope.
Do we have to write the examples down?
Do write them down, yeah. All the problems that we're doing
You
now.
go back to A then? I
Yeah.
was trying to get something and I couldn't write down A.
No worries. There you go. Okay. All right, so the next example. So that was A, this was B. All right, and now this is one more that we're going to do together. After this, I'm going to have you guys try it on your own. But for this one, what do we see? What is different?
There's more.
Yeah, there's more.
So it's at 3 steps?
Yeah, so this one's going to be 3 steps because if you notice, I have a 9x over here, and then I've got this 3x over there. And anytime that you see different x's in different places, that tells you that you're going to need to simplify. And we simplify by using something that you might have heard before called combine like terms. So combining like terms basically just means you're putting things together that belong together. So in this case, I have a 9x over there and I got a 3x over here. I'm going to put them together because they match. They have the same exact variable. So since these two match, I can add them. So I'm just doing 9 plus 3. 9 plus 3 gives me
12.
12. So I have 12x. And everything else comes down. So I have 12x plus 18 equals 1. Combining like terms, very important. And after you combine like terms, now you're down to 2 more steps. Now you know you're going to have to do 2 steps. So what should I do next?
Get rid of the 18.
Get rid of the 18, exactly. Because remember, you're going to add and subtract before you multiply or divide. So to get rid of my 18, I see a plus, I'm going to write down a minus. I'm going to subtract. This is my subtraction property. When I subtract, my 18s go away, and I'm left with 12x. And now we got to think back to when we learned how to do positive and negative numbers. So I have 1 minus 18. Before you do the math, just think about it. If I start out with 1 pen, and I'm taking away 18, am I going to have a positive number or a negative number?
Negative.
Negative. Exactly. Because I can't, once I take away this 1 pen, there's nothing left. I can't, so you're going to have to go into the negative numbers. So would anyone like to share what you get when you do 1 minus 18?
Negative 17.
Yeah, negative 17. Would anyone like for me to explain how we got negative 17? Okay, lots of shaking heads. Couple of yes. Okay, I see a couple of yeses in the chat. So I'll go through it very, very, very quickly. If you already know how to do this, then go and do the last step. So 1 minus 18, I always like to visualize it first. And I like to visualize a number line. So if this is 0, that's going to be 1. Then negative 1, negative 2, and so on, right? If I'm doing 1 minus 18, I'm going to start at 1. So this is my starting point. And I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to move to the left 18 times. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way to 18. If you actually do that and take the time to do that, you're going to see that you're going to land on negative 17. Because you're starting with 1 and then you're going all the way out into the negative numbers. So you end up with negative 17. So that's how I got that. But if you, we're going to be doing a lot more problems like this with positives and negatives. So if you're still a little bit stuck on those, we will have time to review. All right, final step. What operation should I use for my final step?
Division.
Division, exactly. I'm using my division property. I'm going to divide by 12 on both sides to get rid of my 12. And is this going to be a fraction or a whole number?
A fraction.
Mm-hmm. Do I need to change it or make it look different or leave it exactly like that?
Leave it at is.
Exactly like that.
Exactly. You do not need to make it as a decimal. You do not need to make it a mixed fraction. You just keep it as an improper fraction. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Awesome. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you the next. So you guys are going to do 2 problems now on your own. Make sure you can write this down. You don't need to write the instructions, just write the problems themselves, just the problems, and go ahead and get to work. I'm going to put 5 minutes on my clock right here, and once we get back, we'll go over it together. And once you're done, if you want to privately send me what you got, make sure you do it on private though, so that you don't share it with everybody and then they're just going to copy you. But when you're done, you can privately chat your answers and I'll see if you're right or wrong. Nice, I'm seeing lots of correct answers. Love it. Good. One clue I'll give everybody is that you should have a whole number for both answers. So if you're getting a fraction or a decimal, check again. There's 1 minute remaining. All right, 5 minutes are up. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do the first one. I saw a lot of correct answers in the chat. I think actually like everybody got this one right. So I'm gonna go through this one quickly because this one's a little bit easier. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and you can shout it out if you know it. What should I do first?
You should
both sides.
What should I do to both sides?
Add 10.
Add, yeah, good. We're gonna add 10 to both sides. That's gonna leave me with 5x
equals 30.
equals 30. And then second step is
Divide.
to divide by 5, exactly. That cancels out my 5, and I have over here, make sure, I saw a few people wrote 30 over 5, but when you actually do 30 divided by 5, that gives you 6. So even though it looks like a fraction, you can actually simplify it and get a whole number. So for number 3, the answer was 6. For number 4, I saw a mixture of correct answers and incorrect answers. So I'm going to go through this one a little more slowly. First things first, I'm going to do what?
Subtract 9 from both sides.
We're going to subtract 9 from both sides. Beautiful. And 21 minus 9
11.
is 11. It's 12, my bad. So if you got 11, there you go. So 1/3 x equals 12. And now, so step 1 was subtract. Step 2, remember, we have a...
By 3.
Multiply.
You got it. Okay, remember, fractions mean division. So when you see a fraction, you're actually going to multiply. So we're going to multiply by 3. And you get x equals 36. 36. So remember, we're multiplying by 3. We're not going to divide. I saw a few, actually a lot of people wrote that the answer was 4. That means that you... You put some. Okay, so just make sure that we're using the correct operations. Always think about what is the opposite? Okay. What is the opposite? What can I do? Okay. So if you divide it by 3, you're not the only one, but just remember going forward that if you see a fraction, that's division. So you're going to want to multiply instead. Do I have any last questions on this one?
No, it was kind of easy.
It's kind of easy. That's good. That means you're prepared for the next one where I'm going to make it even harder. Here we go. Okay. So we have a two-step equation, but it's full of fractions. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally do not like fractions. They are hard to work with. They are not your best friend. However, they can be your best friend if you know what to do with them. So in this example, what I'm going to do in step 1 is I'm going to get rid of my fractions by multiplying. So I'm going to write get rid of fractions by multiplying. Okay. So what does that mean? So let's take a look at each of my fractions. I have 1/3, 1/4, and 5/12, right? What you're going to look for when you're looking at if you have a problem like this with a bunch of different fractions, you're going to look for the one with the biggest denominator. So which of these has the biggest denominator?
5/12.
5/12. And we're just going to highlight this 12 right here. That one, that's the number, that's your magic number. You're going to multiply everything by 12. Because when you do that, remember, multiplication is the opposite of division, and fractions are dividing. So if you multiply by 12, it's going to get rid of all of your fractions all in one step. However, let's break this down because we are going to be doing a lot of multiplying here. So I'm going to write the next step. I'm going to break everything down. So we're doing 12 times 1/3 y plus 12 times 1/4 equals 12 times 5/12. So I'm multiplying 12 to every single part of this whole equation. So starting with my first one all the way on the left, in green, I'm going to do 12 times 1/3. Does anybody want to explain if you know how to do this and can explain it? Would anyone like to do that?
Do you do it 12 times 3 plus 1?
Okay, so I knew somebody was going to bring this up. That's a different thing. That's when you're turning your mixed fraction into a improper fraction. When you're multiplying,
12/1 and then multiply it.
you're so close. You guys are really close. I'll give one more person a shot if they think they know.
12 times 1.
There you go. Okay, so you're going to multiply it by the top number and then divide it by the bottom number. You're going to multiply by the numerator and divide by the denominator. So in this case, I'm doing 12 times 1, which is 12. And then I'm doing that, dividing that by 3. So 12 times 1 is 1. 12 times 1 is 12. And then 12 divided by 3 gives me
4.
4.
Oh, wait.
So that's 4y. Now let's do the same exact thing over here. Now I'm doing 12 times 1 is 12. And then you divide that by 4. So 12 divided by 4
Is 3.
is 3. And then one last time. Now this one's where it gets interesting because I have to do 12 times 5. So what's 12 times 5?
60.
60. And then 60 divided by 12 brings you back
To 5.
to 5. Exactly. So notice how just by multiplying straight across, I multiplied every single thing by 12 and it got rid of all of my fractions for me. And now I have my two-step equation that I know and love. So at this point, from this point on, I want you guys to do it on your own. So 4y plus 3 equals 5. Solve that equation to get the answer for y. Go ahead, 2 minutes.
Can we privately text you the answer?
Yeah, go for it. Good, I see a few correct answers, but make sure that you write it as a simplified fraction. So I saw some people say it as a decimal, and some people were saying it as a improper fraction. Try and see if you can get it as a simplified fraction. Good. Good, I see, good. Lots of good answers. Okay, 2 seconds left, so I'll start now. Okay, all right, so my two remaining steps, so this next step is technically step 2. I'm going to subtract. So this is my subtraction property. So I do -3, -3, and I get my 4y equals 2. Okay, now in this next step, this is where some people, oh, is it not showing? My bad, I just noticed. Hold on a sec. I don't know why it freezes on me like that sometimes. So if you notice I'm like talking and I look like I'm writing and you don't see anything, just let me know. Okay. My final step is going to be to divide. I have 4y, so I'm going to divide. That's my division property. And when I do that, I have y equals 2/4. Now, some of you guys sent it just like that in the chat. Some of you guys sent it as a decimal. But what I want is I want a simplified fraction. So what's the simplified version of 2/4?
1/2.
1/2.
1/2, exactly. And that's my final answer. Any questions? Some people I know I saw in the chat, some people said the answer was 2. If you got 2, that's because you did 4 divided by 2 instead of 2 divided by 4. Remember, you're always going to do the numerator divided by the denominator. You guys are killing it, by the way. Let me just say, you guys are moving I didn't get this far with my first period, so I'm very happy. You guys are you're getting through this real fast. Okay. I see a couple people still writing. I'll give you guys just a second more. Alrighty. Let me see what I have next here. Perfect. Okay. So now I want you guys to try this. Again, remember, if you need help, go back to the previous question and look at what you did in this one. See if you can try it on your own. Many of you might feel like you have no idea what you're doing, but my biggest piece of advice is to just try it and see if it works. If you're looking at it and you're like, no, this makes 0 sense, then wait for me to explain it. But I bet you guys can do a lot more than you think you can. So I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock for this one. Go ahead and begin. About 30 seconds left. No stress if you're not there yet. If you feel like you have an answer, you can put it in the chat. All right. If you sent me an answer, I saw a couple people, you guys had it correctly. So good job. All right. So, and then I saw a lot of people who said they don't get it, you're confused. That's okay. Don't worry. Fractions are hard. I'm not going to lie, they're hard. But if you take each step nice and carefully, you should be okay. Okay. I see, okay, a couple people requesting more time. I'm going to start just going through it because I want to make sure I get through everything, but I'll go through it slowly. Okay. All right. So I have all these fractions. If you remember from the previous problem, what am I going to do to get them out of there?
Multiply them by 14.
Good. I'm going to get rid of my fractions by multiplying. And why did you choose 14?
It was the biggest
That's the
denominator.
greatest.
It was the greatest denominator, exactly. So you're always going to pick the greatest one, and in this case, that's 14. All right, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to multiply everything by 14, starting with the first term. So it's going to be 14 times 2 over 7m. That's my first one. Then it's going to be 14 times 1 over 7. And then it's going to be 14 times 3 over 4. And I'm just writing this all out so that I'm clearly showing every single step, okay? Even if you did it in your head, I'm going to always write everything down so everybody can see what I'm doing. Okay, and remember, when you multiply fractions, you're going to multiply the whole number by the numerator and then divide it by the denominator. So that's going to be 14 times 2. What's 14 times 2?
28.
28. And then I'm going to divide that by 7. So what's 28 divided by 7?
4.
4. So now here I get 4m. In the next one, now I'm doing 14 times 1, which is just 14. And I'm going to divide that by 7.
2.
That gives me 2. And then finally, I'm doing 14 times 3. What's 14 times 3?
42. 42.
42 divided by 4. So, sorry, by 14. That's supposed to be a 14. There we go.
3.
It brings you right back to 3. Okay. Any questions at this point? Because I know you might have made a mistake at this point and then that messed you up for the rest of it. So if you made a mistake up to here and you have a question about it, let me know. Okay, cool.
I forgot to divide for the first one, so I had 28 over 7.
I messed
okay.
up.
So-
I added instead of subtracting. Like I put the adding sign.
Oh, instead of subtracting sign? Okay, so that got you somewhere else. But that's okay. As long as the most important thing is if you know what you did wrong. So if you can figure out what you did wrong, that's actually really good because that means now you know how to do it right. One question I see is how did I get 4? Okay, let me very quickly break that up. So this was 14 times 2 over 7. And the way that I got 4 is because you have to multiply by the numerator. So 14 times 2 is 28. And then you divide by the denominator. So 28 divided by 7 gave me 4. So that's how I got 4. All right, and now from here on out, we're good. We're in the clear. This is easy stuff now. What am I going to do in the next step?
Subtraction.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of this 2.
Get rid of the 2. Not by subtraction, careful. It was by addition. So that's my addition property. That's going to give me 3 plus 2 is 5. So I have 4m equals 5. And then my final step is my division property. So I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. And I get m equals, does this simplify any further? Do I get any whole numbers or do I leave it exactly like that?
Just like that.
Just
Leave
like
it
that.
exactly like that.
Exactly. 5 over 4. Final answer. So you guys, we went through a lot of stuff today. We started with 1 step. Now we're up to 3 step. In the next couple minutes, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here because I want you guys we're going to be doing Khan Academy. So I don't know if you guys have used Khan Academy before with Miss Sneed. I'm not sure, but I'm going to have you guys create new accounts on Khan Academy, and that's how I'm going to be giving you guys homework. There will not be homework today, but there will be homework tomorrow. So for now, I'm just going to share with you the information for how to join, and then you can check that tomorrow for homework. So any last questions on this problem? Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're noticing what mistakes you made, that's a really good thing. That means you know how to fix it next time. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick preview for what you'll see tomorrow. You're going to see equations with parentheses, equations with variables on both sides. Things are going to get very long, but I bet you guys will be just fine. Okay, so let me share. I'm going to put in the chat the link to join Khan Academy, but I'm also gonna be very specific about how to do this because I want to make sure nobody's giving me some weird names on there, because then I won't know who you are and I can't give you an A.
Isn't this on dates? Don't you find this on dates? Okay.
You can find it, you can go to it through Date Schools, but it's always going to make you log in. It doesn't automatically link your account to it, so you're going to have to create an account first.
I think I already have an account.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you already have an account and you remember your username and password, if you remember that stuff, great. If you do not remember it, I'm going to ask that you create a new one. And yes, I will put it in Teams, okay? So if you're not sure, I will put it in Teams. Okay, so y'all can see my new screen, right? Khan Academy? Yes, okay. So on this screen, when I share you the link, you're gonna create a new account, unless you already have one, but most of you guys probably don't remember your username and password. You're gonna put your birthday. Make sure, this is super important. I think all of you guys are over the age of 13, but if you happen to be younger than 13, make sure you put 2007 at least, because otherwise it's gonna think you're too young and then you're not gonna be able to do some of the things. And when you do this, you're gonna sign up with email. You're gonna put your Dade Schools ID. So this is gonna be your Dade Schools ID at students.dadeschools.net. This is your normal student email, in case you didn't know that. And then your first name, your last name, and the same password you use for your Dade Schools account. This way, everything is the same and you don't have to remember any new information when you're logging in. So let me go ahead and share with you. I'm putting it in the chat. I'll also put it in Teams. But right now, go ahead and click on that link in the chat and create your account. And you should be able to see the homework up there tomorrow. And I'll remind you of all of that.
I just logged in with my personal email, not with dateschools.net. And it still took me to the Khan Academy.
Okay, as long as like I said before, if you already had an account before and you remember your username and password, that's fine. This is for anybody who does not have an account or who forgot their password.
Have.
If you remember the password, that's fine. Like I said, just log in with your normal account.
We log in with our Dade Schools login.
Mm-hmm. Yours, yeah.
Do it right now.
Yeah, right now. Go ahead. Take a few minutes. When you're done and you signed up and it says you're done, then you can go. You're all done for today.
Miss, I already have my old account. So like, what's the code so I could join your class?
Let me put that in the chat as well.
What should our password be?
Use the same password as your Dade Schools password. If you want to join, if you already have an account and you
I want to type in the code because I still got my old account.
Yeah, I just heard that question. If you need the code, go back to Zoom, look in the chat. Okay? I'm
saying like how I get to the code part so I can type a new code in.
From your home screen, there should be a button for like join class or something like that. I don't know if you can see it.
No. Oh, I see enter a class code. I see it.
There you go.
You said we can leave when we're done?
Yep, if you're done, if you signed up and you're good to go, you can go.
I signed up.
All right, cool. I'll see you tomorrow.
So when we sign up, we click enter a class code.
Yeah.
So when we done, we leave.
Yep. If you're all good, if you signed up, you can go.
Bye.
Bye, Scania.
Wait, miss, it says class code. What is
I put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Miss, I finished.
You're
You
good?
put it in a Zoom chat.
Yeah.
You can go.
Oh.
Done.
Finished it.
All right, cool. You can go. And I don't know if I answered this already, but if you still have Miss Sneed there, I think you can remove them. You can remove her from your.
I just have you. Cause it's
Okay.
of 8th grade.
Okay, cool.
I got it, Miss.
All right, Samantha, you can go.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Got in.
You're good.
So there's like some courses right here for Khan Academy. Which one would you choose?
Algebra 1. Bye,
What is
Guillermo.
Algebra 1?
Miss,
Yeah.
I joined already.
Who said what?
I said I joined.
Oh, okay, Jade, you can go. Good job.
See you tomorrow.
Bye, Dawn.
Bye, Miss Lopez.
Bye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Have a great day.
Bye, Miss.
Bye. Bye, Guillermo.
This
Mm-hmm.
I have like a what you call it account already, but I can't find your class.
I'll let you share your screen. Hold on one second.
No, I did it on my phone because when I tried doing it on the computer, it says you can't log in. You're already logged in. So I reset my password and everything.
Okay.
But it said I'm still in 7th grade, so it's not my class.
Okay,
I'm supposed to be in your class.
so can you make a new account the way that I told you guys to do it? That way you don't confuse it with your old account.
Okay.
So go back to the chat and click on the link and then just hit create new account.
Oh yeah, that's good. We'll probably put that. Yeah. Yeah, please wait till a little more. Express how you feel.
All right, bye, Miss Lopez.
You got it, Cassie? All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. No! Oh my god! How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was texting Cassie. I was texting, I guess, your mom on, like, I had it as Cassie's mom, but then it said that it came under your name too. And I was like, wait, you guys are related? Oh my god, that's awesome. How's high school?
The same way Miss Pierre reacted because I saw Miss Pierre too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish you the best. I'm glad that you guys are together so I can see you sometimes and say hello.
Okay.
It's good to see you.
You too. Bye.
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 Bye, Cassie.
Miss,
right,
it's not working.
It's still not working? Okay, let me see if I can figure something out for you. So what happens when you try?
It says you already have an account like to that. And that's the only thing I've been using.
On that email account, you already have one? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create an account for you, and I'm gonna share with you the username and the password, but you have to write it down because it's gonna be different, and you just have to remember it.
Okay.
Okay, so give me one
Thank
second.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Books and movies have very similar.
It's Jean Philippe, right? Your last name?
Yes.
Okay.
Similarities and differences.
Is it 1 P or 2 Ps?
And Jean Philippe?
Mm-hmm.
2.
2 Ps. And then how many L's?
2.
2. Okay, cool. Just checking. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you can write it down. It automatically creates the username and the password for you, so it cut off the last 2 letters of your last name, but that's just what it does.
Okay. Do I like take a picture?
Yeah, take a picture, write it down in your notebook. Just make sure you remember it because I
Okay.
can save it, but I'm not going to go back to this page.
I got it.
Okay, so you're automatically in the class when you log in, okay?
Okay, later.
Bye. See you tomorrow.